being a gossiper, getting upset over little small petty things, really comes from a lack of a sense of purpose. Because basically, you want to think of yourself as a man where you have this sense of purpose, and that creates gravity, which then sort of pulls in the armor that are personal boundaries. If you think about it, how many of your actual beliefs that you have, or emotions that you feel, or just sort of day-to-day activities that you engage in are actually of your own conscious decision? What I think is that most people are actually closer to sponges than to what most people would think of as a human being.
Live, Freight Broker University / the Freight Broker Authority, Dr. Cameron Todd, live here with one of my best friends, Indigo Dawn. And let me tell you what, she's as awesome as her name is. She is a little bit of everything and a whole lot of explosion, like dynamite, TNT. So let me tell you what, we are going to play around a little bit today with the Golden Phoenix Project. The Golden Phoenix Project is close to my heart. We're going to watch a few videos, learn a little bit about how to become, or how to be involved, or how to actually make a change in people's lives. I'm just going to drop a video on there, and we are going to see what
for anyone with a felony record, or even if they're current. The Golden Phoenix Project is the first of its kind. It's an innovative second chance program for anyone with a felony record, or even if they're currently incarcerated. Having a criminal record presents many difficulties when assimilating back into society, namely finding employment. Experienced freight broker Dr. Cameron Todd launched the Golden Phoenix Project to train anyone who has a less than perfect background to be a freight agent or own their own business. The main focus of the Golden Phoenix is to train previously incarcerated people on lifeboat employment and business building concepts. Previously incarcerated individuals need a steady paycheck to provide themselves with housing, food, and basic necessities so they can survive on their own. Like a phoenix, you can too rise from the ashes and start a new beginning with the Golden Phoenix Project. Call 1-877-762-4560 to have one of our representatives guide you on a virtual tour of the program.
So, Miss Indigo, what do you think of that apple?
Well, we've already talked about it a little bit, starting off, but I already told you that the difficulties, the difficulty that we all know that ex-offenders face. I'm coming from the corrections world. A decade ago, I was a corrections officer, and now, a lot of the issues that these gentlemen and these ladies face coming out, they're no different than anybody else. They just got caught. Let's be for real. We all do things, and the chance that they're not offered it's astounding. So what you're doing here, and I know you haven't really described it all yet, so I'm not going to go all the way into detail until you do, but literally giving somebody that has no chance, everybody's working against them, to give them the opportunity to almost step into and not just work or have a job, but literally build and expand and grow and build a legacy when everyone else has written them off like they had no chance. I think that is probably the most awesome thing that I've ever heard before. And I hope you go into describing it today. I don't know if you're going to, but today is what I'm hoping that's what you're about to do, right?
Well, today is the day.
Yes.
Today is the day.
NYT
Yes.
at your
And the reason for today is real simple. Years ago, too many years ago to count, I was a police officer, and I got to be honest, I was Judge Dredd kind of police officer. And for those of you that haven't watched Judge Dredd, it's a movie from back in the 80s where Future has rolled the components of judge, police officer, tactical officer. They're all rolled into one human being with super mechanization and sci-fi abilities to arrest and convict and incarcerate instantaneously. So they find a crime in commission or whatever. They roll up as an officer. They analyze, evaluate, initiate motor action, and judge, and they say, you have been judged. and they pull the trigger, and there's no court, there's no jury, there's no time, it's too much crime, and
Mr. I am the law.
I am the law. And I was that guy. I was black and white. I came out of the academy. Now my first year riding in with the senior officer, where they don't really let you do anything but drive. And they can take a nap over there on the side. You're supposed to, but they take a nap. You drive. If it's a midnight shift, you go. You get coffee. You get donuts. You hand the ticket book to them. They walk around the side of the car. They write the citation. They come in and explain to you why they pull the car over, what their probable cause was, what they're writing the infraction for. You do this about a year or so while you're waiting to go to the academy. Then you go to the academy and find out everything you've been doing for the whole year is wrong. Horribly, 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 inexplicably wrong. So you go to the academy and you go through about 4 hours a day in a classroom setting, 12 to 16 weeks in the academy, and 4 hours practical. So you're driving, or you're learning to fire a weapon, or you're doing PT. Let me just say you do PT every day, all day long. It's a boot. The academy is like a boot camp, and it's like a college, and it's like all rolled into one. So police academy, you come out and you understand the letter of the law. The letter of the law is a very fascinating thing, but if we follow only the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law, then it's completely impractical and it becomes Sharia law. So we can't have that. You absolutely have to use what's called, and they explain it to you. You get some legal courses. I mean, you don't come out of there a paralegal or anything, but they come out of there with, it's called a prudent man's judgment. It's a judgment call. You're an officer of either the city or the county or the state, and you represent that city and that county and that state, and you're to the best of your ability to uphold the law while using a prudent man's judgment or woman's judgment. Nowadays, that was a long time ago.
Right.
Now would be called prudent person's judgment, I guess. You're going to find I'm as politically incorrect as a human being can be. And I'm not ashamed of it. That's just me. Love me or leave me. So, forgive me now or forever hold your peace. So, I came out more like the letter of the law, more like Judge Dredd. Everyone's guilty of something. I just don't know what it is yet, but I bet you are. So, I'm going to find something to write you a ticket for, and I'm going to, if you didn't do, and my mentality was, if you didn't do it this time, then you did something else, so it fits. And I think you only come out two ways. I think you come out, and I call it Barney Five for Judge Dredd, and
Right.
on the other side, I call it Otis, where everybody's just friendly, and if they're not shooting bullets at you, they're okay. Just let them go. Well, the week I came out of the academy, they set me down. The good old boys. There was 12 officers. That's how big our city was. Our town, our Mayberry,
Little township.
was 12 officers deep, so that meant 4 on duty any given shift. So that leaves 2 home sick. So there's basically 2 officers. There's 3 cars, 2 officers, and a chief. So you get the idea. So I got interviewed, and they said, "Listen, boy, that's a small town in Mississippi." So
Right.
imagine. I was a martial arts instructor. I had 3 karate classes going at once, and just small one here, small one there, small one. I was thinking, the reason I became a law enforcement officer, I was thinking that it would give me better credibility in the community. Well, he's a police officer, he must be credible, legitimate, yada yada yada. Turns out everybody hated the police officers in that county, so all I could do was suffer because they were like, "We were thinking about bringing our kid down, but now in the hell with it. You're one of them. You're crooked. You're crooked." But they sat me down and they said, "Listen, we know you just got out of the academy. We know you just had amazing." There was 96 students in the academy. I was in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
I loved learning. I loved studying. I loved the letter of the law. But the truth is, the letter of the law is not in any way applicable to real life. In real life, you got a little old lady, and she doesn't know how to drive, and she hasn't known how to drive in 30 years, and she can't drive, and she wanders all over the road, and her only vestige of freedom is every Sunday afternoon She takes that 1963 Pontiac down to the grocery store and gets a jug of milk and a loaf of bread that somebody brings out and puts in their trunk. Then she wanders all over the highway, all 5 miles back to the house, every Sunday religiously. And if you don't know that and you pull over, and then you take her tag down, and she starts losing her mind because she's never been arrested before. You must be new. I know the chief. By God, I was his first grade teacher, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
When you call in the tag, they say, Todd, that's the chief's first grade teacher. You gotta let her go. Chief said let her go. Well, hell, now I've done written the ticket up and it's official, and you just can't tear a ticket up. You got to go to court like everybody else.
Yeah.
Then the chief calls you. Todd, I thought I told you let her go. You know, and then you go to court and she don't show. You go to the judge for a contempt of court ticket, and he said, Todd, I thought they told you to let her go. You're like, I represent the city, and I'm a badged officer, and yada. She's weak. And he's like, let me see that ticket. He looks at it, you know, and signs his initials on it, hands it back, said, now, it's good for about what it's worth. Wipe your butt with it. Next time we tell you let him go, you let him go. Well, now come on, guys. You know, if you're going to work for, if those are the circumstances, and they are,
yes,
in many cases, there is no law.
Well, the law is one of those things that's both black and white and fluid at the same time. And that's the perfect example that you just gave. Because at the end of the day, while the law does mean something, it does not define the rest of somebody's life.
Right.
You know?
So I came out and I was one of those officers that would have wrote their own mama ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned in time that, well, I mean, if you're going to be, when you're gung-ho, I call it, sometimes in the military it's called the new lieutenant syndrome. You know, you want to make an impression, you want to make sure everybody knows you shine your boots, and you got $300 worth of tactical gear. You want somebody to shoot at you. By God, will somebody just shoot at me, please, so I can use my tactical training? And the truth is, real life just doesn't fit the scenario that they teach you at the academy. It just doesn't. But it's also not meant to be just who you know, and because you voted for the prosecuting attorney, then he's going to let your meth head son off because it's not supposed to work that way. The problem we're having nationwide, and even in our own backyard, this very week, I have experienced a situation in detail where, because of the details limited to a parole probationary situation, it's stopping my own trucks from rolling because the interpretation of the law is, well, you can't go out of the county or whatever. You could a week ago or a month ago, but now a judge has got to sign a petition or an order or whatever to give this truck driver, whose entire livelihood is driving the truck,
right.
We have to get special permission because they're not allowed out of the county. So now we have to jump through hoops, and this truck's been still for 2 weeks now because somebody somewhere didn't read or interpret parole, probation, whatever. Listen, the only job for a parole and probation officer, when you come out of the penitentiary or you're given parole or probation instead of a sentence, their only job, period, ever, is to peacefully reintegrate you to society while supervising you against criminal offenses. They're supposed to help you find a job. They're supposed to help place you with gainful employment. They're supposed to monitor you to make sure that you're not going to offend or reoffend. Their job is not to find 100 reasons why to lock you up and put you back in the pen.
Why to lock you back?
That is not your job. Right. Your job is, and instead they want to go on these missions and these manhunts, especially against particular types of crimes. Like, now I'm going to be God and I'm going to say one sin is greater than another. So if you're a drunk driver and you cross the yellow line and it's manslaughter the whole family, you do your time and get out. You don't have a registry. All right?
Everybody, there's none of that.
You don't have anything following you or haunting you. You just do your time and get out, and everybody tells your story with a sadness. Oh, it was a sad day. Yeah, no, it was a stupid day. Made a stupid mistake. He got drunk, got behind the wheel of a guided missile, and used it as a weapon and destroyed a family. That's what happened. It was stupidity. That's okay. We're going to let him pass it. Now we're going to let him jump in an 18-wheeler and go anywhere he wants forever. He'll never be restricted because he's done his time. But
Right.
now a sex offender though, sex offender for whatever reason, and you can just insert the offense here. I'm not trying to say even for a minute that I justify these type of crimes. What I'm saying is regulate according to the crime. Period.
Right.
There
Right.
shouldn't even be a registry. There's no such thing as a registry. You do your time, you get out, you should get the rest of your life to make up for that. There shouldn't be a registry. Registration's garbage. Okay, that's first
You know,
off.
there are different levels where it comes to like violent offenses versus like those statutory type offenses, and I can understand what you're saying. Like, they're lumped all into the same in that category, anyways. It's all lumped into the same thing, to where I can understand the apprehension for people to allow it, but there's got to be some sort of avenue for somebody that did make a mistake to repair their life. And if that avenue is getting into the cab of a truck and just minding their own business,
Well,
why can't that be that?
well, let's take a look at it. Let me tell you why there should be no registration. There should either be no registration or registration for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Let me tell you what a perfect world looks like. If you're going to be a sex offender, the rest of your life they're going to be able to run your tags or call your license plate in or whatever, and you can't live in certain apartments buildings, or you can't live close to a church or whatever that garbage is. When we all know the numbers show 90% of all sex offenders are somebody you are close to or know anyway. Those have been the numbers since caveman times. Those have been the numbers. It's not a stranger danger situation. We don't have a guy crossing the country in an 18-wheeler picking up teenage girls out of farmhouses and molesting them and dropping them off in the woods. That stuff's not happening.
Right,
It's never happened. It's never going to happen.
Truck drivers are probably the most GPS entities in the United States.
Well, listen. If a truck driver is a brokered truck, let's just talk about reality. His cell phone number is GPS.
Everything.
His GPS is GPS. I have right on my computer right now.
Lunchtime is GPS.
I've got an electric log system on that's live. It's camera front, camera rear, camera interior live. It tells me where that truck is 24/7.
Right.
Then I've got their cell phone on GPS. And then I've got, guess what? I've got TQL, the company, calling me every hour. And then I've got the wives' girlfriends, and sometimes the wives' girlfriends and the whatever.
The wives' girlfriends and everybody else.
So whatever it might be, there's no doubt everybody on the planet knows where that truck and that driver and that load are.
Right.
That's the truth. But instead of saying that, we've got messed up laws that we can't leave the county or the state or what. Well, you can't drive a truck and not leave the county and state. All right, it's not happening. Should have never happened. You maybe could do a gravel truck or a local truck, but if your livelihood is cross-country trucking, then by golly, you need to be doing cross-country trucking, okay? Or let me regulate some other stuff. What would a world look like whereas if you were ever involved in a drunk driving accident, you had bumper stickers all over your car that said, drunk driver on board, beware. A big sign in your yard that said, drunk driver or manslaughter person lived here. A registry that warned the apartment complex and the building you were in and everybody that ever run your credit. When you go to get a car that says car, they say, oh no, I'm sorry, you were convicted of a drunk driving accident. We can't sell you a vehicle. Your insurance is twice as much. How fair is that going to be? So can I go paint all of those cars up and down the interstate? Can I go paint them all red because they were involved in an accident 20 years ago? For life? Is that fair?
Not at all.
All right, let's take it a step further. How about everybody that's ever involved in a shoplifting accident? They got a felony for felony shoplifting. Do we get to ban you from all shopping forever because you might be in your area where you would be tempted to shoplift again, so you just don't get to shop? You get to stay home and shop on the internet? Wait, does that sound good? Let's go ahead and crank. Either crank all the laws up to match the sex offender mandates, or tear those barriers down. Okay?
Because at the end of the day, that's really what's keeping like these guys who've had these offenses from getting in these trucks and providing a livelihood in an attempt to rehabilitate whatever it is that they, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been punished for, they've done their time. Now it's time to move forward, but they're still being blocked. They're still
They're not
being
only being
blocked.
let's talk about who's really being punished by this.
Mm,
Who's really being punished is little Johnny and little Susie, who are 10-year-old, and their dad can't make a living because you got this BS restrictions on them on these registries. Not only little Johnny and little Susie sometimes can't even live in the same house as dad
all right.
because of what he's charged with, right? Or, I mean, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 90%, I forget, depending on where you're at, everyone's got a satellite family. So I
Yeah.
marry Indigo Dawn. She's got 3 kids. I got 4 kids. Used to be funny. Used to be the Brady Bunch. But now we got her kids, my kids, our kids. All of a sudden, some kind of a messed up restriction on a sex offense charge creates a reopening, or what they call reexamination, or re-level, or whatever they want to call it. They enhance the law and decide you're violating, so you get re-examined. All of a sudden, I can't stay in that home because those kids that are not mine that's considered a threat. So you are literally busting up families, unemploying the dad, or it could be the mom. I'm not going to be just one sided
Right.
here. So you've invented a bunch of garbage laws and restrictions on the you're running on electoral votes of I'm protecting the community, but no. What you really is busting up families for no reason so that you can attempt to reincarcerate people that have already done their time. We're not talking here about new crimes. We're talking about 10 years ago,
Something that's
they had a law, then they enhance it, then they enhance it, then they enhance it, then they enhance it, and they make it where you can't breathe, you can't stifle.
Well, let me ask you a question then, Doc. Just, we'll just talk hypotheticals right now because obviously there's nothing that, we can technically do about it. But like, what kinds of things are there that people in their local communities that are also trying to help reintegrate ex-offenders, no matter what their charge is, but that is, one of the worst, but no matter what their charge is, what is it that people in your position that want to help reintegrate ex-offenders that have these kinds of charges that they can do to like try and I don't know, mitigate the circumstances? Like, okay, so right now, that you've got a truck that cannot move interstate. What is it that in people's communities themselves, who can they talk to? Where can they put that information out to? What kinds of things can we do to kind of, like I said, smooth that process over? Because at the end of the day, regulations is still not going to put food on those kids' plates, no matter, and those kids don't deserve to fail because of the failures of a system that won't let their parent reintegrate.
Well, I'm glad you asked because that's what led us where we're at today. So with the Golden Phoenix Project, a trucker knows trucking better than anyone. So he has bill of ladings, he has proof of deliveries, he has contacts in the trucking world. So if all of a sudden he finds out he can't drive, excuse me, or he finds out for whatever reason, maybe he's older, he wants to come in off the road, or maybe she's older and she wants to come in and be with the kids. All right, in the trucking industry, you can become a freight agent or even your own broker with our system. And even if they put a bracelet on you and lock you down to the county and lock you down to the house, to the address, to the room, they can lock you into a 20 by 20 room. I don't care. You can still do this job.
You're still broke.
You can still broker. You can still be an agent. You can have a phone and a laptop, and you can make a living wage, regardless of the charge and regardless of what they're trying to do to you, what they're trying. I think it's just crazy to come out and say, we're going to lock you back up if you don't get a job, oh, by the way, you can't have a job
You can't have a
in
job.
the area that your expertise is.
Right.
You have to find another job. So we'll give you permission to do this garbage job over here that'll never make enough money for you to pay the rent, and then when you can't pay your rent, we'll lock you back up. It's like I'm
Not to
reminded
mention
of.
you can't work third shift because you got to be home by a certain
Right,
time. Right. There's all those kinds
exactly.
of things.
Your whole life is wrapped up in the fact that they do everything they possibly can to try to lock you back up. I'm reminded of the 18th century when they used to have the Salem witch trials, and everyone laughs now by studying history. When I was a kid, we studied real history.
Right.
That would be history that actually happened and not stuff we made up because it was politically correct. So real history, what they did is if there was ladies in town that were maybe their husband had died, or they were young when they married and their husband got injured and died or whatever, and they weren't married right away, the old ladies of the town who were jealous because their husbands kept looking at them would make stuff up, and
Yeah.
they'd say, oh, she's got a wart on the side of her cheek, or she wears her makeup a little too much. Yeah,
My
they'd
little
say
bitty,
that's
I'm a witch.
they'd go to the priest in town and they'd say that's a sign of the devil.
Yeah.
That lady is a witch because her husbands and their boyfriends are checking them out, and they would wrap that girl in a burlap sack and put her in the river,
Yeah.
and if she sank to the bottom and drowned, she was innocent. But if she floated,
Right.
they'd
Innocence means
fish her
death.
out and they'd burn her at the stake because she must be guilty. Well,
Yeah.
that's what you're looking at today, modern day time. That's what you're looking at in sex offense related crime. You're guilty unless you can prove your innocence against a weaponized teenage girl, and we all know what that is. Weaponized ex-wife, a weaponized potential lawsuit victim. Just in a world where if a woman claims it, I'm just gonna throw men in there too. If somebody claims something in a sexually
happen more
charged
often,
environment,
but-
you are guilty. They'll follow you up and arrest you and throw you in prison, and you'll stay there and get out and be on the registry and be harassed for life over non-credible witness testimony that's nothing but lies. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Doc, I knew a woman that she was in her 20s and he was 17. She was early 20s. He was 17. However, his mother did not like her, and now it's statutory rape that's followed her now for over a decade. So there are circumstances surrounding a lot of the there are some people that absolutely deserve to be watched out and all that. Yes, that is not who we're talking to, but we are talking to the ones. There are gray areas that are really going. There are gray areas that keep you from actually being you're afraid to actually pursue anything more because like you said, I'm on this registry. I don't even know why I'm going to try to apply for this job or try to move forward or try to get anything better than I don't even know if they hire you at Burger King. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! Most fast food will not, because classically you already know their primary source of income is teenagers out of high school.
That
So
kind of
they're not gonna let you work there. Maybe at a high enough corporate level where you're working in a corporate, but definitely not the counter when you're working with
then
16,
tell them
17,
really
18 year olds.
quick, I know we're cutting short in time, but just tell them really quickly what it is that they could do. How could their lives change and improve if they get into the agent game here? Don't think about CDL because, okay, so say they won't let you cross state lines, CDL truck gone. They won't let you do X, Y. They won't let you go work at, Chuck E. Cheese or you can't get a job at Wendy's. So that one is gone. So tell these people about creating this business right here. Tell them how it can change them. Tell them how it can actually advance what they've actually got going on right now.
Let me walk you down the path of success now that we brought out some of the ugly that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
And it's one thing that irritates me to no end. I'll get in arguments every now and then with people that think they know, especially on Facebook. Well, if you're not guilty, you wouldn't have locked you up in prison. There's a huge amount of people in prison that do need to be there. But every day we're turning loose, not hundreds, but thousands of people nationwide on DNA proof and evidence. Because before DNA, you could just point somebody out and throw them in prison for 50 years,
Bias.
and that was okay. So, I mean, I'm just going to say over 50% of the African American population in the Mississippi Penitentiary today, if they've been there more than 20 years, DNA would probably get them out if DNA was being used.
Right.
Because I mean, I just need to lock somebody up for this crime. Well, go get him. I don't like him. Let's throw him away. So yeah, the system works for the system. But now let's look to today. Today we've got the best chance in 30 years in this industry that we're talking about. I can walk you through the doors of becoming an agent, becoming a broker, and getting carrier authority, and where you might not be able to take that truck across state lines or take that truck out of the county, you can absolutely buy trucks and trailers and lease them on. Talk to owner operators and lease them onto your brokerage, and you can start making the $5,000, the $7,000, the $9,000 a week. And so the success of this,
wait, run that back real quick, Doc. Per week.
Per week. Now we're talking gross, so we're going to take the gas, we're going to take the fuel, we're going to take the expenses, we're going to take the driver payout. But if you're grossing $5,000, $7,000, $9,000, $12,000 a week per truck, it's not difficult to do. As a matter of fact, that's average.
Right.
You're going to make more money than the prosecutors and the judges and the lawyers and the law enforcement that put you in there. So remember this. If I say nothing else that you remember this. The absolute best success, the best revenge ever, is a true and genuine success that you created for yourself. Okay? From the minute I came home in 2012 to today, even today, means yesterday, the week before, the day I came home, I've been persecuted and attacked and sought after and pursued to throw me back in prison for nothing other than I am a success.
Right.
I will continue to be a success. I will continue to teach success. I will never shut up. I will never stop telling what's going on out there. And America, it's time to wake up. You have a vote. Even most sex offenders can vote. So here's what you do. You first take care of you and your family by getting a gainful employment like we have here. You can start for very little investment. And if you can't afford it, and you're on the Golden Phoenix program and you need a scholarship, we have programs that will scholarship, and that means someone else is going to pay your way so you can pay it forward for someone else. If you drive to McDonald's and you pay for the person behind you every now and then, just say, hey, whoever's behind me, what's their ticket? $8. I'm going to pay it. Boom. You do that every now and then. You don't even know who they are. You have no connection with them. That's basically what the Golden Phoenix is here for.
Yeah.
We're going to help you today so you can help someone pay it forward tomorrow. All right? And what we're going to do is not going to just show you how to make enough income for a job. If you feed a man for a meal, he's fed for a lifetime. But if you teach him how to fish, then he's fed. If you feed a man fish for a meal, he's fed for a day, right? One day.
Right.
Then he gets hungry later. I'm sorry, I forgot my own adage.
I know, right?
So I get spiritual. I get emotional. I get so frustrated at what society has become. With at the same time, on the other side, I'm so thankful for the advantages that are available if you look for them. I call it looking for the gold in the garbage. All right, I'll strain through a lot of garbage to find a nugget. When I get the nugget, I'm going to share with other people.
Right.
All right, so that's what you can do. You can get started with Fresh Start Freight, or you can get started with Golden Phoenix Foundation. Learn.
Information at the bottom of the screen, scrolling across.
Yeah, there's a phone number there, and I'm just going to pop on for another one. We have a local. We have a local here. You can call Dara at this number. This is our home office. Say
hi, Dara.
Yeah, Dara, go ahead and
give us a couple minutes. It's our time.
Okay. Well, I am trying to find angel investors for the Golden Phoenix program so that we can get the inmates that don't have any families out there the support that they need to get started. Like, if we can get this pilot program in Colorado off the ground, prove that it works, that's just one more step to getting it government funded. And then that's the inmates, the government working for them, not them working for the government. That's them getting absolute solid employment, solid income, that they're generating, in there, they're not just wasting their time sitting there wondering what if. It's improving their home life. They can send money to their babies. It's coming back into society as a person that's not going to have to struggle and go back to what got them in that situation.
Let's be honest, Sarah. They could feed to their kids, not just pay for their kids. They could actually. This is like honestly legacy building stuff that
Yeah.
the opportunities are not prevalent out there for ex-offenders. Like I said, I'm coming to the corrections world. Not have this stuff going on. So they're like some of the best people that I've met.
Yeah.
The 2 acres of land that I own,
Yeah.
I have because of a conversation with an inmate.
Exactly.
Here, stop. I want to remove that stigma that
Right.
that ex-offenders are limited to what they can do.
Right.
Please reach out. Dial the number on the screen.
That's
Dial
right.
the number on the screen. Do not miss out, folks.
Well, see,
This is
and I'm also really faith-based, and so like for the ones out there, I don't know if you know who Joyce Meyer is, if you've ever heard her preach, but she did a segment on Sunday Christians about how they'll turn their backs and they'll talk about somebody, and just because of their mistakes they won't have nothing to do with them and they'll shun them. Jesus didn't do that. He ran with them. But he showed them a better way. And so that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to open that stigma that not everybody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. We're all sinners, but we're all forgiven for our sins. We want to be that safe haven. We want to be that forgiveness.
It's so sweet, Sarah.
I want to touch base just for a minute. We're not talking about just ex-offenders or just people with less than perfect background. People been in county jail, men and women of any background. I'm also talking about disenfranchised employees. Maybe you were downsized. Maybe your business went bankrupt. Maybe they sent all of your company's textiles to Mexico, Indonesia, Taiwan. Maybe China's making 90% of your items now and your job's been eradicated. What I'm saying is, at whatever point you find yourself, if financially you would like to start a business and build an empire that you can hand down to your children, that you can own. EIN number, LLC, Duns and Bradstreet, business credit. A year from now, look up having been paid all your bills, have money in the bank, drive the car you want to drive, change your lifestyle. It can be done. It can be done. Just contact us. We'll start you on the path. We'll donate everything we've got to helping you achieve your goals, with the understanding that you will then in part pay somebody forward
that needs your help later. Okay, if today is your day, welcome Cassandra and Dion. Welcome to the
Cassandra.
show.
Oh, hey. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. This is Indigo Dawn and Darius with me today. We're talking about Phoenix. Cassandra and Dion are my latest. Cassandra and Dion have been with us for a long, long time. And they are, I'm pleased to announce they're coming on board with us as both ambassadors and representatives in California. And, Cassandra will soon be the face and the profile of the Golden Phoenix broker side because she fits all the criteria. She has stuck with me through thick and thin, and Dion has stuck with me. I think we still owe Dion a couple computers or a computer or a freight meter and a computer. And bless their hearts, they keep forgiving me, and they keep moving on. And I just want to say that there's going to be a time
between now and next year, when there's going to be a large amount of money made by everyone in this meeting. Now, when we look back on it, whatever's going on now is going to seem tiny, because the one thing that giving forward or helping people does is it makes you part of a unique family. And I'm not sure what you call your higher power, but the rules are simple. Give without expectation of return, and you will be blessed. And
That's correct.
you can insert whatever policies and procedures, rules and regulations that there are into that scenario. That's the truth. That truth will always be and never be violated. So, once again, I know we're just finishing up for today. We may even do another one this evening. We can't get enough Golden Phoenix. But for today, if you can share with your Facebook audience, your YouTube audience, or just the number, my number, Dara's number, whatever contact. By this time next week, Cassandra and Dion will have their own number, and they'll have their own contact, their own page. They're starting a journey to be the next commander. So the representatives today, and as representatives, they've been with us a long time, and they're going to represent us. And then Indigo Dawn, she's a representative, and they're both ambassadors too. It's crazy you guys are on the same day, because you both made it this week. Now, Indigo's got a colorful history. She's smarter than me on a lot of levels. Most levels, I'm going to say. But Cassandra and Dion, she's helping us with all kinds of projects in the future. And Cassandra and Dion, I think they were some of my very first students here. So it's going to be fun. But I'm going to jump off for today, and then we're going to holler a little bit later. And if we get ready to do another one this evening, we'll just give you guys a shout and send y'all a link. And we're going to give y'all plenty of time. So Cassandra and Dion, did you have anything today for us?
I have a question for Cassandra and Dion before we jump off.
Okay.
So the getting started, I know Doc says you guys have been with them for a while, so you guys have been there while things were being figured out as far as making this brokerage thing work for you, making this agent thing work for you. Like, can you just give us a little bit of glimpse into the process or what it was like just having zero knowledge to where you are today? Because here you are. Just a glimpse.
Is it for me or is it Sandra? Which one?
Yeah, give me any of it.
Okay, ladies first. Ladies first.
Well,
Go ahead.
well,
You want to
no,
speak?
Well, go ahead, and then I'll.
Well, one of the things was initially when we first got into it, sometimes we're a little apprehensive, you know what I mean? And we think about like, okay, how much money we gonna make? But then you can't really always look at the money. You have to look at the opportunity that you're providing for other people. And one thing that I liked about it was the flexibility. Flexibility was everything. Wow, you kind of have your own schedule. When you think about, you're taking care of your loved ones, you're not away from them. Because when you work in a job, you're gone. And now you have your own schedule, so you can kind of run your own program. And then the comfort of being in your own home, and you have to enjoy what you do. So let's say, talking to people, some people might not be comfortable with that, but you have to eventually come out of that. This is business. If you don't speak, you don't get nothing. So if a person say, hey, I need you to speak for me, I'll give you $10,000 a week. I bet you won't be shy no more.
No, that's right.
You gonna speak.
I ain't gonna be shy no more. I promise you I ain't.
I promise you, because you and you know, I'm the type of individual, like, you have to have that personality, but you have to be able to get along with people. You know, communication is everything, because you know, if you're silent, nobody can read your mind.
Right.
You know, and I always feel like if you got a great dialogue, that communication, and then you have to have that tenacity. You have to really enjoy. It's like a passion that has to be developed. And sometimes, you know, oftentimes we think about, we want to get the money, we know it's going to come, but don't chase it. Let it chase you.
You know what, Dion? I
Yeah.
know, but that's something I noticed is that, like, the passion for me didn't, like, I got into this because, you know, a loved one that was in trucking, but the more information that I gained, the more knowledge that I got from being in Doc's program, that's what kind of got me passionate about it. So I wholly recommend getting into an actual mentorship, an actual program, because you can YouTube it all day. You can read all the free guides and PDFs all day long. But that passion that you're talking about didn't develop to the real deal. Information started coming to me through the information I was getting through the program. It was the same, I'm assuming, for you.
Yeah, and one thing about Dr. Cam is that when he's real passionate about it, but not only that, he want to see you succeed.
He does.
That right there was a game changer for me, because when he said that he was going to deliver everything that he said, he delivered.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like the fact that I can call him. You know, other people you can't call, but pick up the phone, call him. He give you his time, and I love that.
Yeah,
you know, and you can tell when a person genuinely has your interests.
Yeah.
I've been around for a minute, and I can tell. And he's got a good heart, and those are the ones that you want to go to the top with.
Yeah. Can I get the applause sound effects for Doctor?
I gotta tell you, Hey, Cassandra, I was gonna let you know. We've got a gentleman just arrived here in the office. We're about to interview him. He's a driver for your truck. So he's already on board. He's going to talk to him, visit with him. He called earlier today. So just like you said earlier, things start to manifest. You put an ad out, you're never really sure who's going to respond or when. But I did put the ad out, I think yesterday evening, maybe this morning, I forget. Anyway, he's local. He's got years of experience. He may work out just fine. And that's what we do. We got to go one step at a time, right? So, of course, you know how those trucks work. If your truck rolling down the road and you're making money, then
you're making some money.
It goes in the bank. So, first truck for Golden, second truck for Golden Phoenix, first truck for Cassandra and Dion Golden Phoenix. We're getting ready to interview your driver, and if it all works out, I will call you, introduce you to him, and we'll talk on the phone. And then anytime he's on a run, of course, I'll be able to tell you that he's on the run. He's got a good name. One of his names is Todd, so he's got to be worth $1 million. So there you go.
Right.
He's got it. But anyway, he seems like a good enough fella so far. He drove all the way from Paragould to here, and we're gonna show him one of the trucks and see what we can do. But I got to jump off for now. But having said that, I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna end.
We love you, Cam. Appreciate you, man. Everything. Thank you, everybody. All right.
I'm gonna end the broadcast the video, and y'all just get acquainted.
All right.
Hey, Cam, call us when you get a chance.
I will, about 10 minutes.
Okay.
2005, I had one of the most tragic injuries ever. I got to fight my fight. It's about fighting our fight. It's about understanding I'm gonna make the play or I'm gonna watch the play be made. It's simple. It's a man on a man every time we play the game. It'll never change. Fight your fight. It's our fight to fight. 1 and 6 doesn't define who you are. What defines who you are is what you do when you 1 and 6. Give everything you got today, not because of the scoreboard. Knowing you gave everything you had. That's why no matter what